Welcome back to Ultimate Combat Radio. Mike Stidham here on 1280 The Zone and 97.5 FM. This segment is brought to you by Aztec Highway. Get it your way at the highway. WDFA. Before we left to break, we were talking about our poll question of the week. We'd love to have you join us. Robertina, how would they join us if they were so inclined?
They can call us at 470-570-670-1280. Text us at 53318. Text in zone and your choices, or facebook.com/Ultimate Combat Radio.
All right, and the poll question is, who is on your MMA Mount Rushmore? And I believe, who's up next? Who's going next? Joe. Joe. I've been online and I've been kind of going through some of the this question's been asked before, and some people are mentioning Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris, and I was like, look, man, those guys are martial arts legends, but they're not really mixed martial arts legends. Even if you want to try to claim Jeet Kune Do as a mixed martial art, I don't think he had a whole lot of influence on the sport as we see it today. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
No, really, I think that everybody should be either Pride or UFC when it comes to MMA. That's who people watch, and that's what made the sport grow. So I don't think Chuck Norris, Bruce Lee. No, I don't think they belong there.
All right. Well, what do you have? What's on your?
I
who's
got
on your list?
Dana White, just because of the growth of the sport, and he just said last week
you
that
stole mine.
just because you went first.
Okay.
Just because he said last week that he'll die before making our MMA go mainstream. That's what his plan is. He goes, I'm going to die getting it mainstream.
Okay.
So, and it's just his commitment to the sport. And then I got to put Chuck Liddell on there. Just who doesn't know who Chuck Liddell is? Big John McCarthy.
In fact, I watched Bachelor Party the other day, and Chuck Liddell was in it.
The Bachelor Party?
Yeah, he was. He was a scary guy on a motorcycle. Scared all this. Bachelor Party Vegas.
Okay.
It's an older show.
Big John McCarthy, and then
you put Big John on there.
I did.
Good.
And then Fedor.
Ooh,
I think internationally, he
is the Michael Jordan of the sport, if you think about it, because he has more international recognition than some of the others. So.
And he was huge in Pride. I mean, Pride was so big, everybody knew, other than people that watch UFC,
Well, good stuff. Well, now, speaking of a guy who's going to have international recognition, there's a guy that I really think's got a tremendous upside in this sport. His name's Ramsey Nijem. Ramsey, are you on the line there?
I am. I'm right here.
How in the heck are you, man?
I'm doing great. Just training and get ready for my fight.
Okay. Did you hear the poll question? We're talking about who it would be on your MMA Mount Rushmore. Off the top of your head, who do you think would fit on there?
Chuck Liddell, for sure. Randy Couture. And we probably have to put on, what's his name? The mustache. What's his name? Crap. I just drew a blank.
The mustache?
Dan Severn.
Dan Severn.
Dan Severn, okay.
That's a recognizable mustache around the world. And I'd probably put Dana White up there.
Well, let's save a spot for when Ramsey's done with his career. What about that?
Yeah, we'll save a spot, or maybe we'll just put mine underneath the Mount Rushmore, just carve it on the side of the mountain or hill. That'll
work. All right. Well, now, Ramsey, the last time we spoke to you, you were gearing up for the big finale on The Ultimate Fighter. Despite all the good mojo we tried to send you away, things didn't work out for you, man. What happened in the fight?
I got a little emotional and caught up in the actual, drama of the fight, of people saying, "Oh, you can't stand with him, and you got to take him down, otherwise, you're going to lose." And then I went out there and I felt like I landed a couple good hard rights right off the bat, and had him, backing up and his head down, and instead of sticking to the game plan, I got away from it. Wanted to knock him out, and obviously it worked out in his favor.
Well, it's interesting that you're at least grown enough to admit that. Look, I kind of got caught up in the mess. So, and here's a guy that you have teammates that have been there before, and now you've got another teammate that's there now. Do you feel like that having happened to you, are you able to go and maybe impart some insight to Steven and say, "Hey, man, look, this is what happened to me, and don't let it happen to you"?
Yeah, and I definitely gave my insight before he left on the show, and how to get through with it and how to deal with stuff, and obviously having Court around, and Brookins will come out and train with us every once in a while, and Berkman. So there's a plethora of knowledge when it comes to Ultimate Fighter houses and what to do once you get into the UFC afterwards, and how to make your mark.
Well, so now let's talk about that. You mentioned some guys that are on your team, and it seems as though there's, 4 or 5 of you that have been there. What do you attribute that level of success in getting onto the show?
Oh, yeah, for sure, and, just being able to rise up to the competition, because really in that house, I was the least experienced and the youngest person there. And, luckily I've fought wars every day at practice with, Court and Josh. Josh is a hard practice partner. We have Jorge Lopez will come and train with us when he's in town, and he's now fighting in the UFC. So, being able to come out of a tough room, it definitely helped when I was on that show, being able to rise up to the competition.
Now, you got a big fight coming up at the end of the month. You're fighting a guy that was on the same finale show that you were on. Did you get a chance to see him? And then, didn't he fight Brookins? Is that who he fought?
No, he replaced Jonathan Brookins to fight Jeremy Stevens.
That's right, okay.
And, I've obviously watched the fight and watched a lot of his fights, so, I know what to expect as far as the, each fight. And he's coming out of Duke Rufus's camp, it's a tough camp, but I know what to expect and, how they defend their takedowns. And, they all pretty much kind of fight similar, to be honest, out of that camp. So just like, everyone out of our camp kind of fights similar too. It just happens. So, I know what to expect. Jonathan lost to Coke, who's out of his camp. And so, learn from his mistakes, hopefully, and, capitalize on their weaknesses of wrestling and jiu-jitsu.
I got to ask you, Ramsey, you said you got caught up in the hype. How much different is it fighting in local shows like you fought in the Showdown a few times, and then you got put on this huge stage? Is that what got you caught up and emotional in the fight?
Yeah, before your fight, I was, my first fight in the UFC, I was the main event, which is already kind of ridiculous, to be honest, if you think about it. And it was my, sixth fight or seventh fight, really. And I was the main event on a UFC card, so that was kind of like a little bit overwhelming. And, right before you go out, Dana White and all them talked to us about, going out there performing and, basically just, told you to go out there and, your job's on the line or, just motivational speech kind of thing. And, watching all the fights in the back room and getting ready. It's just unreal, and it's nothing like I ever experienced before.
Do you think you're going to overcome that this time, or do you have the nerves setting in yet, or how are you feeling about this one?
I'm going to overcome it just because, I'm now on the prelims. There's going to be no one really at the arena yet. I'm not on pay-per-view or Spike TV. I'm not fighting in front of millions of people. I'll be on the Facebook card in front of, viewers that ever watch the Facebook card. But really, it's like I was already at the top, so now I'm back down here. And, obviously it's a lot less pressure, I feel like.
You've been to the big dance, and really nothing's going to compare to that. So you've experienced it, and so going forward, everything's going to be kind of a piece of cake, right?
Yeah, until I get my title shot, then maybe I'll have to go see a psychiatrist or something.
Now, Ramsey, is this fight the same weight you fought in the house, or did you go to a different weight for this fight?
I dropped back down to 55. Before I went on the house, I was fighting. My last 2 fights were at 55, so in the house I bumped up to go to 70, so now I'm back down.
Is this a lot more comfortable for you here?
It's more uncomfortable because I don't get to eat, but it's, I'm a lot bigger. I'm almost 6 foot. I walk around about 180, 185, so 55, I'm big, strong, and, I can probably make up for my lack of experience with size and, strength, against other 55ers.
What weight did you wrestle in college?
I bumped around. I started out at 57s, and that was actually too hard for me to make on a regular basis. And then my coach wanted me to bump up to 74, so I was a small 74-pounder in college.
Well, you're at least used to the weight cut then. It's no unfamiliar territory for you.
Yeah, and I made 55 a couple times before the show, and, everyone knows, the weight cut's such a factor, but I've known about my fight for months, so I've been cutting, and I got my weight down. I've done it healthy. I'm strong still, and I feel good. And now I'm within range of, just the water weight now.
Now they call you Stripper Ramsey. How does this weight cut affect your stripping career?
Actually, my six pack's coming in a little better, so tips has been better. And, I'm making more money.
Yeah.
They don't need a fight. I'll just have to cut down to 55 and all the time just to strip.
So, can you tell us what are you making for this fight?
Yeah, I mean, I think they posted online anyway, so it's 10-10.
That's good stuff, man. It's nice to hear you making a little bit of dough doing this right after all the hard work.
Well, I mean, before I went in the house, my biggest paycheck was $500 and $500. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I imagine it is. Well, Ramsey, I want to thank you for coming on the show again, man. It's awesome catching up with you, and we'd love to have you come back after you get a couple of UFC fights in there and you're a big time superstar.
Anytime.
All right, thank you, my man. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Good kid, man. Good
like
kid.
him.
You can't not cheer for that guy.
And I'm excited because Robertina and I are going down to go see him fight in Vegas.
Really? I thought you guys were broke.
We're going down there for the show.
I'm just kidding, man.
We're going down.
Become unbroke.
Yeah, we're going down for the show.
That's
Who's the main
good.
event? Who's the main event, Joe?
GSP
Really?
Carlos Condit.
Oh my!
Let's
All
just
right.
hope Robertina doesn't meet GSP.
Broke or not, we are going to this.
Robertina already dumped GSP for
Joe Rogan. And she
And
had
they're
her.
both going to be there. I don't know what I'm
Hey,
going to do.
I heard it through the grapevine in my office that Ramsey's quite the big celebrity already, though, too. He was down in Houston last weekend and was asking to sign autographs over some other fairly
Is that right?
bigger and badder fighters right in front of some people that were telling me that they were like, here, can you take a picture of us, and having these other guys that were like champions of
I'm
UFC
telling
taking a
you,
picture of Ramsey.
that is
cool.
That
right?
is the
Ultimate
magic
Fighter.
of that show.
Yeah,
that show,
exactly.
man, and it was amazing because back in the day, I remember when Josh Berkman used to get mugged by people, and Jeremy Horn would be in the same room, nobody knew who he was. It's just the being on television, being on that the cable network that people saw him. I'll bet more people know who he is than some of these upper
Well,
echelon
you're
guys.
talking about Mount Rushmore and all this and the show and the growth. It's just amazing. I have, 10-year-old and a 13-year-old that they're telling me they're in MMA clothes. I want to be an MMA fighter. I mean, it's you just seeing all the little kids. The growth it's accelerating.
Yeah.
It's exciting because it combines so many different sports into one, and then it's an amazing ride. And I think right now it's bigger than it's ever been, and you're just going to keep going like a tidal wave.
It's definitely growing, no doubt about that. If we can get rid of Bill Colbert, it might continue to grow here. That's that opinion is my opinion, shared by many.
That was a quote from me.
Yeah, okay. We're going to be breaking down the UFC and going over Robertina's Mount Rushmore when we come back.